else was on.
Yeah, they were.
We are trying to reserve the slide campground for next year. You can't do it before 8, and at 8, everybody in the world does it.
It was unavailable at 8:00. I knew that was going to happen.
And at 7:59, it was saying you can't do it yet. Can't do
it. And then at 8. So hey, good morning, guys. How are you? And so it already got booked for the 24th through the 27th.
Wow.
Our next shot is the 31st. So it would be the first weekend in August.
That's fine.
So we'll try this again.
If not, that other campground's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But it's not what we want.
The slide group area is so cool because it's kind of isolated, and
yeah.
I was hoping that they would release like at midnight or something, but I guess I would have had to be up at midnight to get that. So okay, we don't have the slide group area for next year, Vicky. But I did have an idea.
Okay. Going to Vicky's house?
Yeah, let's do Vicky. We're gonna have our family camp out at your house next year. So put in some RV hookups, could you? We don't have that at the area we're at, but it'd be nice. I mean, if we're going to drive to Farmington, they have those. So what the thing that I'm going to keep trying for is we might push it back into September. It doesn't have to be before school starts.
Well,
because
it's on a weekend anyway.
Yeah, most people aren't going to come out until Friday night.
Yeah. Or late Friday afternoon.
Yeah. So
cool.
So anyhow, working on that. I'm excited about the family camp out. That's going to be fun.
Yeah, that's going to be
so I saw you signed up. Are y'all actually going to sleep there, or are you just going to come out?
I don't know. Bev's not for sure.
Yeah.
We're old, but I may try one night. We'll see.
There are places for tents. Is that what you would have? Or
yeah. I'm not classy.
Well, I keep saying that our little travel trailer was a 76, and I'm still trying. I've only had it for a year, still trying to figure out all the stuff with it. And so I just sat down Sunday night and just reading the manuals, and I'm like, oh, it's a 96.
You actually read the book?
I've read it before, but here's the way I am. I don't know if you guys are like this. Vicky says, come on over.
Okay.
Good morning, Jenny. So I'll read through stuff and then I get information overload. And so then most of that doesn't stick.
Yeah.
So normally for me, I have to read it and do it, and then read it and do it. I mean, I can look over all that, but the stuff that doesn't apply to me right that second,
yeah, just goes away.
Yeah, I don't remember.
Same.
Messing around, and so Thursday after men's Bible study, I'm going to go and work on all the other little things that I need to there while it's hooked up, and then bring it back, get ready for the camp. But I've had it for a year, and I just, one of the things that I haven't really messed with is the water heater. Mainly stuff like that is because I'm afraid there's going to be like this big leak, and then I've got, and usually I only have an afternoon to work on it or something.
Right.
A big leak. Okay, so now it's emergency time, and you got to mop up stuff and rip stuff out, and whatever. So I've been afraid to test the water heater, and I need to put some caulking in the shower because the in the corners it was hard plastic and it's all cracked.
Oh yeah.
And then I noticed when I changed where the bed is into a sitting area that folds out into a bed, and I noticed that there's been some water on the floor before, so I don't know if that came from the shower.
Well, if you want, you can buy those inserts. Holler at me, I'll help you stick that in.
Okay.
They go in pretty quick.
That you mean like a shower insert?
Yeah, just the whole thing just slides right in.
I might do that. It won't be before the family camp out. Thanks, I appreciate that.
Yeah. Be fun.
Expect a call at some point, probably. That way I don't have to worry about it. But so anyhow, so all those kind of things. But I felt so dumb. I'm sitting there Sunday night looking. I was at the camper in there Sunday night looking through, and it didn't say anything about because my thought was, man, I gotta figure out how to turn the propane on for the heater and how to light the heater, and and then what if there's a gas leak and all this other. And then I'm looking, it doesn't say anything about propane, it's just electric. And so I go over and I look at the little panel. Sure enough, the heater breaker is turned off. It's electric. I don't have to light a propane. One less thing to worry about.
Well, you know, if you go by what the manual says and what it tells you to do, and those two coincide, then your life is easier.
Well, here's the other problem. I'm sorry, random ramblings. Here's the other problem. Just like with,
I tried to segue, but
yeah.
go ahead.
Just like with the car, your car,
Uh-huh.
when you're reading through the manual, it says this, and if equipped, da 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 da. How do I know if it's equipped with it? You know. So anyhow, yeah. If we do things the way that the manufacturer made it and told us how things go better.
Sounds like life.
I know, it sounds like the Bible.
Sounds like last week.
Yeah.
Sunday.
So Sunday, wow. Whew, here we go. All right. So Sunday, the title of the message was identity. And what we talked about, you're so good about looking at the stuff ahet of time. I forget. And so I'm like, what did I talk about?
I just have to because
It was
it's like
a few
the
days
manual
ago.
overload.
Yeah. Let's go back and see what applies to me right now. By the way, I'm so glad that the YouVersion Bible app hasn't wigged out on us the last few Sundays.
Oh yeah.
There were a couple of Sundays that were like, nothing's working. So identity, and what we're talking about is who you are, what you say, and what you do should match.
Right.
So that happens. I don't know if you guys have ever. I almost feel like it's the bait and switch. And I kind of feel bad. I think I've said this to you guys before, but the exterior renovations are moving. Now we got to wait for windows, and then they're going to come back, finish stucco, and then paint. Or the paint's going to be mixed in stucco. We can ask Angelo about that today.
Actually, it is. I asked.
Mixed. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought so. So the last coat, it'll be mixed in. So this has happened, and this happens a whole lot. People see the outside of the church, and they think rural country mountain church.
Oh yeah, it was with the boards. That guy came by wanting pictures.
Yeah. And I actually had a guy that said, "Can I take some pictures?" And he has this really nice camera, and he comes in and was very complimentary of our modern sanctuary. Did not take. I'm not kidding. Did not take one photo.
Does not match the outside.
Yes, and I've seen so many people with the look of shock when they walk in and the inside doesn't match the outside. And so even with the church, that kind of identity thing. And here's another deal too. Maybe you guys have run into it. Some of the best restaurants are so scary looking from the outside. The hole in the wall, the mom and pop.
Yeah.
Manuel and I, we were in, where were we? Denver? I forget. Manuel was my German friend. I know his name's Manuel. It's funny.
And Angelica.
Angelica. So the Spanish pronunciation. Okay. Because I emphasize the hell a little bit more than I meant to.
Yeah. English name, German pronounced in
Yeah.
Spanish.
So we made a deal. We'd go to conferences a lot. We tried to, and we made a deal that we couldn't have German food or American food. So we'd always look for some other international food. And so we were looking for an Indian restaurant at one place. I forget where we were. Everyone we went to looked so scary from the outside. We didn't try it. We ended up eating at a Buffalo Wild Wings that night because we didn't know if that was American or what. But it was getting late. It was 11 o'clock at night. But that's why you look at the outside. You're like and then you get in and the food is amazing. Don't go in the kitchen, but and so we run into stuff like that all the time, or this old jalopy of a car that is like fast, and so what we want.
That seems contrary. You hear don't judge a book by its cover, but I want my cover and my book to match.
Yes. Yeah. Oh yeah. Because the reason people have to say stuff like "don't judge a book by your cover," by the cover, is because they should match. That is instinctive for us it to match.
That turned the key. That made it.
And Jesus kind of said something like that when he's talking about the Pharisees. He says, you guys are all nice and pretty looking on the outside. You're like whitewashed tombs. On the inside, you're dead.
Yeah.
That doesn't match. You know, the same way with, I don't know how you guys are, but if my cup is disgustingly dirty on the outside, you good luck trying to convince me it's okay to drink from. You know,
Got it.
those kind of things should match. And so, especially with us, Jesus hits this a whole lot. And he says it in terms, I always attributed this to the book of James, which we're going to launch into. We're going to start studying James on Sundays. Cool. But that let your yes be yes and your no be no. But Jesus said that in the Sermon on the Mount. I mentioned it on Sunday.
You can depend on the whole package.
Yeah, Jesus is saying that we should be authentic. So the word is sincere without wax is kind of where that comes from.
Sealing the cracks.
Yeah.
Hiding the cracks.
Right. Yeah. That we should be the same inside and outside.
You know, and that being sincere or being real also applies to when we do have cracks. Say, hey, sorry, that's there. I'm trying to fix it.
But even that is still being real. We're not.
That's
we're
what
not
I mean.
trying. Yeah, not trying to cover it up.
Part of being real is admitting the cracks.
Hey, look, I'm gonna let you use this cup. It's got this crack right here. I put this stuff in it.
Hold your thumb right there.
Yeah, I put this stuff in it. I felt bad. We went to visit some friends in Santa Fe, and we went to it's called Noodle Fun or Fun Noodle, a Chinese restaurant where they make the noodles.
Oh.
Right there. So we were sitting there watching them make the noodles. I'd never seen anything like that. And I felt so bad. So, you know, there's 4 or 5 of us, and they only brought out 2 deals of silverware. So we'd asked for more silverware. Hope ordered a root beer, and it looked like colored water, maybe a little bit.
Real roots.
Like it didn't have any syrup hardly in it. So we had to switch that out. And I'm sitting there thinking, because it's Santa Fe, and I'm like, well, it may be a little bit more humid here, because man, my cup is like making a pool of water, sweating. And I realized, no, there's a crack in the cup. You know, so that poor waiter was like, man, this is a needy group here. You know, they all want silverware. They want their root beer to have syrup in it.
They want their glasses to hold water.
Yeah, you know. So Jesus, the reason he said what he said was let your yes be yes and your no be no. In other words, you shouldn't, when you say you're going to do something, who you are, what you say, and what you do should match. So when you say you're going to do something, you will. You shouldn't have to say, no,
I promise.
This time, Jim, I promise.
Yeah.
This
really,
time,
no, this time.
You know, and we don't do this, but, you know, swear to God, you know, we shouldn't have to do that. Our character should be such that when we say we're going to do it, it matches who we are.
When I was a little kid, Boy Scout, I had a friend who was in the Boy Scout troop with me, and he told a story. Chaparral Junior High School, at the end of school, they would put gates, and on the weekends, they would put gates across the hallways so you couldn't get up and down the hallways.
Mm-hmm.
And this kid had forgotten his shoes or forgotten a book or something, and he climbed over the gate, and he said, I've got a footprint on the ceiling of Chaparral School.
Oh.
And my dad laughed about it, and he was telling my mom, and mom said, no, nobody's going to. He said, no, wait, this kid said it. And if he said it, he did it.
Yeah.
And I thought, wow, that just really impressed me that my dad was like, no, if he said it, it happened.
Yeah. This kid doesn't make up stuff. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so that, and that's you know, we've talked about this a lot in kind of different arenas, but that's where we want to be. And it doesn't mean that we're perfect. Like you said, that we say, so, and this is really hard with kids sometimes, because they take things, and you want to be that way with your kid. With ours, we always tried to, if we said we were going to be there for a volleyball game, or said we're going to be there for something, that we're, as much as we can help it, we're going to be there. What's hard with kids is they don't understand. Sometimes life interferes. You know, Dad, you promised, you know, when you, and I want my word to be, when I say I'm going to do something, my kids take that as fact.
Yeah.
You know, that's the way I want to live. but Dad, you promised you would be there and you didn't make it. Honey, I'm so sorry. Somebody had to go to the hospital. I had to go do that. That was an emergency.
Right.
That there are sometimes life interferes. But that's where, and this may be in James, where we say, let's don't say that tomorrow we'll do thus and such. Let's say that Lord willing. So to
That's 14:1.
oh wow, you got that.
I've got it on the license plate of my truck.
14:1.
Yeah, James.
I don't think there's 14.
Maybe it's 1:14.
Okay. Like I think there's only like 5 chapters.
It says, what are we but dust in the wind, basically. And my
That'd be a
paraphrase
good song.
my paraphrase is don't get all puffy because you could be dead tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, my license plate says just
Hebrews.
passing through.
What? Yeah, there's only 5 chapters.
Yeah, 1:14.
So 1:14. Boy, you're good.
Oh,
It's
that's-
on your license plate.
Yeah, this is the only Bible verse and now I didn't remember.
And John 3:16. Yeah. No, wait. Each one is tempted when he's
No,
lured.
that's not it.
That's okay. So here's the thing. what? So we come from an era when it was book, chapter, and verse. We have to remember that's not the way the Bible was written. When Jesus quotes Isaiah, he doesn't say Isaiah chapter 4, verse 30 something. There was no such thing.
Yeah, that was for the scribes to keep
Yeah, that was
in the trend.
well, that was added later for we who have who can actually go to books.
Yeah.
In that day they were scrolls, and so that's why they say Isaiah says or Jeremiah, or they don't even say who did it. They just quote it and everybody knows that was Isaiah or Jeremiah. So I'm saying that to say it is good. That's like I know where Jim lives. I can get to his house. I don't know his address.
Yeah.
It's not Ranger. What road?
Ranger,
Is it Ranger? Old Ranger Road?
Yeah.
24? 20. See, I was wrong. I would have visited his neighbor.
Well, you know how to get there though.
Yeah. And so that's the important thing. This is a little bit of a rabbit, but the important thing in scripture is to know what it says. It's helpful to know where it is. But that is, if you're going to do if you're going to use Google for a Bible study, here's the way to do it. James 5:10. Jose says, thank you, Jose. Good morning. If you're gonna use Google for a Bible study, here's how to do it. You type in, let your yes be yes and your no be no, and it'll then help you find the verse that.
And I preface that with Bible reference.
Yeah.
And then type it.
Yeah, or Bible verse. Yeah, because sometimes dust in the wind, you're going to come up with a song. That's what I'm saying.
Kansas, by the way.
Was that Kansas?
Yeah.
Oh.
Well, I don't know. I thought it was 1:14 too, so don't trust me.
Any of those songs, like if I recognize songs, it's probably a 70s or 80s song, because somehow those are the only ones that stuck with me. That was my preteen and teen years.
Oh, okay.
You know.
I think Kansas was 70s.
Yeah. It's either going to be a 70s or 80s.
Yeah.
Some of the 60s songs, obviously. Somebody named their kid Eleanor. What do you think came to mind for me? Eleanor Rigby sits in
Okay.
all the lonely people. Anyways, we'll shoot all those rabbits. So here's the deal. The identity thing certainly applies to us individually. We need to make sure that matches. And Jose said yes, Canada. He's just a wealth of information. I tell you, we've been missing you on the men's Bible study, by the way. This one's really good. Jim jumped in like at 7 on the button, and I'm like, oh no, his clocks are wrong. He goes, no, I know what time it is. I just thought I'd catch you.
I was reading a book and looked up, and it was it's 7 o'clock.
So this study is really good. It's called One at a Time with Kyle Idleman, and man, the one last night just really hit me.
Yeah, that was awesome. That was really good.
So
check him out.
Yeah, jump in One at a Time. Kyle Idleman talking about how Jesus reached people one at a time, and last night's study was the proximity principle.
Mm-hmm.
That you have to be with them.
Yep.
You know, and for me, oh boy, you're good. He's so good.
He is.
Jose knows what most every church is doing. I don't know how he knows this.
He's magic. And he's fast too.
There are times, I'm not making this up, there are times where I have found out what our state convention is doing because Jose told me.
We will go to our house in Alamogordo and our plants will be watered. Jose.
I like that guy.
Yeah. You're dude. What you are matches what you say and what you do, Jose.
Yes. So Jose will get this. No one else might.
Okay.
But Jose, if you ever decide that the mountain view isn't enough for you, then you can come up to the mountain.
Ooh.
He gets that. You may
Okay.
not get that.
I don't get that.
Okay, he gets that. And I'm kidding. I'm not a sheep stealer. His church is Mountain View.
Oh, okay.
I
know there's a Mountain View street, you know.
Oh, yeah. So we can call our church Valley View.
Oh,
I'm kidding. We're
or
not.
Basin View.
Yeah, we're not good. My dad's
Above the Fray Baptist. No.
Head in the Clouds Baptist Church.
Oh.
My dad's can't think of the
You
word.
got a thumbs up.
Store. My dad's store was Valley View Grocery Store because Valley View Raceway was the store faced Valley View Road in Smithville, Texas, near North Richland Hills, and Valley View Raceway, which was a quarter-mile drag strip where they would do the National Hot Rod Association Championship, or at least some of them.
Okay, well, Rabbit, since we're on Burrow Street, what was the burro who spoke for the
donkey? He didn't have a name.
Yeah, but who
Balaam. Balaam was the prophet.
Yeah, we don't want Balaam Baptist Church.
No, Balaam Baptist. So stupid.
But it's on Burrow.
Balaam was so foolish that God had to use a donkey to get to him.
Yeah.
My first children's sermon ever was, if God can use a donkey, he can use you. I was blasted for that. And I'm like, I thought it was good. They're like, you're calling them all donkeys. I'm not. No, I'm not. I'm saying they're smarter than donkeys.
But if the shoe fits.
Yeah. Anyhow, that was in college, the BSU puppet team. So not only does it apply to us individually, although that's absolutely 100% true, we need to be the same. Who we are, what we say, and what we do all need to match. Doesn't mean we have to be perfect.
Or personality. The church is a personality.
Right.
So the same truth applies.
Yeah. Same thing needs to be true of our church. And so as we reimagine church in a new world, the mic drop kind of that I gave on Sunday is something I think we should consider. I don't think this is something that's going to happen real fast and shouldn't. But I think it's something that we have to think about. We are First Baptist Church Cloudcroft, have been since 1901.
Yeah, we laugh about Only Baptist Church Cloudcroft.
I say I tease my brother pastors all over and they say, what church are you with? I'm First Baptist Church. Really, we should call it the Alpha Omega Baptist Church. We're the only Baptist church, and there's probably not going to be a second Baptist church. I mean, there may be another Baptist church here someday, but it won't be called Second Baptist Church. The name, your name really tells people about who you are. In the Bible, that made more sense than it does for us. Although you can tell a lot about my name.
Yeah.
Larry is always the weird guy in every movie, every TV show, even in the little deal. So I guess I'm the weird guy, kind of. But Hugh doesn't help either. That's my middle name.
Well, you brought up Billy Joe Bob. That gives an indication of who you are.
Yeah. If Billy Joe Bob, you have an idea of where he's from, at least the area. Well, first of all, he's U.S. I've never met a Frenchman named Billy Joe Bob.
Yeah, and whether he fishes or not.
Yeah, and hunts, I bet.
Yeah.
And so it gives an idea of where you are.
James 5:10. Does that show the? No, it's the one that says.
James 5:10. We're talking about not promises. So rather than saying I'm going to do this, we need to realize that we're not in charge of everything. We need to say, Lord willing. That's where that comes from, right?
And the one I'm talking about says, what are we but a mist that's here this morning and gone tomorrow?
That's Ecclesiastes, I think.
There's one in James.
Oh, is it?
Yeah,
okay.
But I don't know where. If you find it, Jose, post it for us.
Jose's got it all
Yeah,
memorized.
what are we but a mist? We're only a mist that's here today.
Oh, James 5:10 is talking about suffering and patience. Are you going to make us suffer? Anyhow, I think it's in James where he says, "Don't say tomorrow I'm going to do this or do that. Say,
Yeah.
Lord willing." And that's one way that we can make sure that we match, because we tell somebody, "I'll be there," and I should say, somehow, Lord willing, I'll be there. As best I can, I'll be there unless something comes up.
My standard is if I don't get hit by a bus, I'll be there.
Yeah, and we have to qualify that, because for us, if we say unless something comes up, we're talking about unless there's some kind of emergency.
Right.
Um,
Not if I get a better offer.
a millennial or Gen Z, yeah, or Generation Alpha may be 512. Thanks. All I had to do was look down a couple. I stopped too quick. Is there anyone?
This is like an interactive study.
I like this. I like this. Yeah. Oh, there's still another one beyond that, but so it is James that says this too, but Jesus said it. James is the brother of Jesus, so that would make sense. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. Jesus said that too in, oddly enough, Matthew chapter 5, verse 37, I think it is. Let your yes be yes and your no be no. In other words, be a man of your word. But also, like for kids, that's where I was saying with that one, my kids would be, Dad, you said you were going to be here. So, what we need to help people understand is if it's at all within my control, I'll be there.
On a broader scale, I think it's the direction of our lives. If we are pointed toward wanting to be more like Christ, then okay, we're going to step off and stumble. But if somebody looks at me, I want them to say, that guy's pointed that way.
Yeah, and so that if Jim says he's going to be there and he's not, something must have happened. That would be our thought, because when Jim says he's going to do something, he's going to do something. Something must have prevented him.
Or
a good book. A good book. Well, I would make fun of you, but brother, I'm paddling in the same boat you are. So. But so with church, this is something that we need to think about as we reimagine church in a new world. What does our name say about us? Does it help to describe us?
Yeah.
Because especially in the Bible, your name really kind of indicated your character. Poor Abigail was married to a guy whose name
Billy.
meant foolish, rude.
Oh, I was thinking Billy.
Ignorant.
Abby and Billy Hid.
Poor Abigail. No, I'm kidding. The Abigail in the Bible.
Yeah.
The Abigail in the Bible, and it's an interesting story. The Bible's so much fun. Read the Bible, and then it changes our lives too. But David got his 500 guys with him. He runs across this guy, and this guy's like rude to him. He's an idiot, right? David's getting ready to, you know what? Let's squash him like a bug. Abigail, Nabal's wife, intercedes for him and says, "Look, I mean,
his name translates idiot."
Yeah, his name means fool. What more can I say?
What you see is what.
Yeah. He is as his name. That's what she says. He is as his name. My husband's an idiot. Please don't wipe us out. I think eventually maybe that does happen, but a fool is as a fool does, or a fool does as he is. Oh, Hannah, you're at camp. I haven't sent you swag because I thought you weren't at camp anymore. I'm gonna get in touch with you so I can send you. I want to send her some FBC swag.
Yeah, cool.
Still at camp. Oh my goodness, man. Hannah May. Yeah, I haven't recovered from camp yet, Hannah. So God bless you, my sister. She's so much fun. Yeah, you haven't met Hannah.
I don't think so.
Maybe
I was
Hannah.
thinking the Hannah that was here for VBS.
This is Hannah that was in my cluster group 2 years. Oh, this is your last week. She's actually going to seminary in Fort Worth now. And I don't know if you're like working masters yet, or if I think it's the bachelor's that works into the master's degree. but she's at Southwestern in Fort Worth.
Oh, cool.
My old
Nice to meet you,
stomping,
man.
my old stomping grounds.
Cool.
Hannah is a palindrome. Did you know that?
What is a palindrome?
Her name is the same frontwards and backwards.
Oh, that's right.
Jim's going to look at it now. Let me see.
Yeah, I did.
Yeah, it sure is.
Because I was an art major, I cannot spell.
Not her last name. Her last name
Oh,
is
yeah,
Yam,
yeah.
if it's backwards. But Hannah Yam or Yam Hannah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah. Love you, kid. Picking on her like crazy. She's like, oh, why did I even chime in? So your name really should give some idea of who you are. And so
Our name starts with Christian, and that's who we are, who we need to be.
mhm.
I was thinking of the sign in the sanctuary that said "Light on the hill," or a city on a hill whose light cannot be hidden. Oh, can't be hidden. Like,
Mhm.
Okay.
Well, so I actually this is just the thinkings of Pastor Larry on a Wednesday morning. I actually had the thought at one point, wouldn't it be cool, City on a Hill, Cloudcroft? Now, but there are other churches that are City on a Hill, and they're kind of a different genre. And so I wouldn't want them to say, oh, they're part of the City on a Hill network, because we're not. I mean,
just the light part scares me.
Yeah.
If I can't hide that light,
Yeah.
Then I better behave.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I told my sisters, behave wherever you go, because there are people that know you, know your dad, or later on you're going to run into them again. So
That's your kids.
yeah. I told Hope and Hillary that. So that's something that I think we need to think about. I have to preface a lot of things I say this way. I'm Southern Baptist. I don't plan on being anything other than Southern Baptist. I've only ever been Southern Baptist since 1982, when I became a Christian. So it doesn't have anything to do with that. We have no reason not to be Southern Baptist, and we would still be Southern Baptist.
Mm-hmm.
But the name, First Baptist Church, for the generations coming up, Hannah's generation and the ones after, it doesn't mean the same thing.
Well, I read a thing that said, it's on sharing. It says, if they're interested, share. If they're disinterested, intrigue.
Mm-hmm.
And a name that would have people going, huh,
Yeah.
I wonder what's inside that door.
Yeah. And so here's some other examples. And again, I'm going to sound, I'm not your typical Southern Baptist pastor anyways. We're not your typical Baptist church. Yeah, I am atypical. But there's some other things that they should have changed the name long ago, but they don't ask me these kind of things. Women's Missionary Union. Does that sound like a 1800s kind of name? Because it is.
Sound like you need a card to get in.
It's an 1800s kind of name, Royal Ambassadors.
Yeah.
But I mean, that the thing that creeped me out, and I didn't grow up in church, so I didn't I didn't know, the Southern Baptist world, but as a 15-year-old going to church, and the brotherhood meeting is this Sunday or this Saturday at 8:00. And it is not this way. Yeah. Immediately I didn't grow up in a Christian home. I didn't know. I didn't have any church background. I'm thinking of the dudes with the white pointy hats, and I'm going,
help me. Somebody help me.
And I met the Lord in a little church in East Texas. And so I didn't know. I'm like, what's that? I had to ask my grandma.
But this is church.
I had to ask my grandma, what's brotherhood? And she explained it to me, and I'm like, woo, thank you.
Oh.
Because in East Texas, could have gone either way, I'm not that old. This was in the 80s. So anyways, so that's something I think, even though it's a weird thing, I'm not suggesting that we do this anytime soon. I'm suggesting that we should begin thinking this.
Yeah.
Well,
language changes, and what we are should be reflected by the language.
Yeah. Who we are, what we say, and what we do should match. Yeah. And I'm glad we talked earlier about we're redoing the outside of the church. That is really going to match more who we are. It's going to be
Right,
more
so-
modern looking.
Especially with the sign.
Yeah. And I tell you, I have had so many, these are visitors, not visitors. We are the talk of the town. There's a lot to talk about in our town these days, but we're the talk of the town. And working out there, so many people. Oh, so what are you going to put back? You know, where are we going to go stucco? You're not going to put wood back? No. Oh.
But we left it on the back. That's what I've been telling them.
You know, and I'm just like, I get it. It's really cool. Spark interest. WMUs, RAs, GAs don't. No, they should have changed those years ago. I think they missed the boat. I'm all for missions, and really missions is one of our distinctives as Southern Baptists, and I'm afraid we're losing that. Hopefully they can catch up with it.
I like what she says, that the name needs to spark interest.
Right. Yeah.
That's cool.
And Hollywood. So there are in the Bible, the names, of course, they could say the church in Ephesus, there was only one.
Mhm.
I mean, it's not the case anymore. But street names are okay. Area names are okay. Identity names. I think for the generation, excuse me, generations coming up, the identity names, I think are going to be,
what we represent.
the best. My point is, if we were going to start a church from scratch today in Cloudcroft, we wouldn't name it.
First Baptist.
There is no church plant probably in the last 15 years that was named First Baptist, probably 30, 40 years that was named First Baptist.
We laugh about this at home. It takes a long time for a freight train to make a U-turn.
Yeah. But I think it's something that we need to be thinking about. What does our name say to people?
And I think we've got a pretty accepting, and I don't want to say loose congregation, but they're not tied to tradition.
Well, here's the thing about our congregation too. We should do this in a survey, but anecdotally, I would say the majority of our people don't come from a Baptist background.
Oh yeah,
They came here in spite of the name.
Yeah,
and then they had to figure out what that means. So what's Baptist? What's a First Baptist? You know what I mean?
Can we still dance?
Yeah. I don't.
I can't.
You try, and I'll let you know. You know. I know I can't. That's true story. We'll wrap up real quick. 30. Does that say 39 minutes? Oh my goodness. Yes.
Oh my goodness.
So we'll wrap up. But true story. I think I've said this before, twice in college, before Cynthia and I were dating. Really pretty girls. Larry, come dance, because it was a student activity board, and so they were different girls, different times, two different instances. They were on the student activity board. They planned to dance. Hey, would you come to the dance? Yeah, I'll go. And I'm over there saying, come out and dance with me. Man, I cannot dance. Oh, come on. All you got to do is move to the music. Each time I went out there and had my spasms, is probably what it looked like. Neither one of those girls ever asked me to dance with them again. Pretty girls, really pretty girls. And so I'm just like, I should have just sat over on the side and said, yeah, you dance for a little bit, come back, sit down, I'll get you a soda. So I know I can't dance.
Bev and I love to dance by jazz music like Benny Goodman, that kind of stuff, and used to do it a lot. Now when we get out on the dance floor, people come by and say, are they still breathing?
No, yeah. Yeah, the really slow kind of rocking, the slow dance, that's the best I can do, and you probably ought to watch your feet still with that. Anyhow, our identity, who we are, what we say, and what we do should match, whether it's us individually or us as a church. And so I think that's really something we need to be aware of all the time, and to ask God to help that be the case.
Cool.
Let me pray for you guys. Lord, thank you for your love. Thank you for just the fun that we have together, just talking about your word, talking about life in Christ together. God, I pray that, Lord, you would use us in ways that bring you honor and glory and bring people to faith in Christ. And God, help us to be out where the people are. Lord, help us to to minister the way Jesus did, one at a time, and one-on-one to each person. God, we love you and we thank you. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen.
Thanks, guys, for hopping in.
James 4:14. I'll bet.
James 4:14.
Is the one that says,
Um,
don't get fancy. You may be dead tomorrow.
go ahead. That's funny. Oh yeah, boasting about tomorrow. That's it right there. James 4:14. Woo!
I feel
Do not
better.
say you don't know what tomorrow will bring. What is your life? For you're a mist that appears for a little while, then vanishes.
Yeah.
Instead, you should say, if the Lord wills, I'll do this or that.
Bingo.
Cool. All right. Love you guys. Woo! 4:14. It came to Jim. That doesn't always happen with us. Does it?
Rarely.
Love you guys. We'll see you on Friday. We're going to do remote Friday from the campground.
Oh, cool.
Or I'm going to be remote. Paul will be remote from his house. Probably.
Fantastic.
So
That'll be fun.
we'll see you on Friday.